Hello everyone. Welcome to this session on Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte was born in 1769. Right now, we are in 2026. Most of you might get doubt. What is the relevance of Napoleon Bonaparte right now? Most of you might be thinking, is he still relevant? Napoleon Bonaparte remains highly relevant even today. Why? Because he is an architect of modern civil law, administrative efficiency, meritocracy. His enduring legacy includes the Napoleonic Code, which influenced the global legal systems even today, the standardization of the empire, the foundational concepts of secular education and state meritocracy. So, Napoleon Bonaparte is still relevant even today because of the Napoleonic Code, which lays as a foundation for legal systems. It is introduced in 1804. This civil code established the principle of equality before law, property rights, and secularism. It remains as a foundation for civil law systems in many parts of Europe, Latin America, and beyond. He is not only familiar with the Napoleonic Code, he also brought many administrative reforms. Meritocracy is the principle what he has advocated. Napoleon fostered a modern bureaucratic state-based ability rather than birthright. Now it looks very familiar and very similar for all of us. But to be honest, the time when he lived, getting this thought itself was not an easy one, and implementing that was much more difficult. He established the Bank of France, centralized government administration, and concordat, European modernization and nationalism. His conquest dismantled the Holy Roman Empire and spread the ideas like the abolition of feudalism, paving the way for development of modern nation states in Europe. Not only this, Napoleon is still studied in military academies worldwide for his tactical genius, strategy, and leadership during the Napoleonic Wars. Now, his legacy is having lot of contributions. At the same time, it still remains controversial. Yes. First reason for reinstating slavery in French colonies, reducing women rights, and spreading his influence through devastating wars. These are few areas where people differ about his legacy, and sometimes it is controversial. So even today, Napoleon's policies, Napoleon's systems are applicable, valid, and still relevant in today's context. So today we are going to learn about Napoleon Bonaparte and his life, his journey of his life from his childhood to his death, and what are his contributions that he has made. For a young boy who grew up in a small island to become the most powerful ruler in Europe and not stopping there, then ending his life far away from his homeland. This is the journey of Napoleon Bonaparte, a young boy growing up in a small island and then becoming an emperor. He belongs to an island called Corsica, Ajaccio. In 1769, he was born, and from there he rose to the most powerful position, the famous dictator, famous administrator. Even today, he is considered as one of the best administrators in France, and then he has to end his life far away from his homeland. So, this is the journey of Napoleon Bonaparte. In this session, we will first understand his story step by step. Then, we will slowly see what made him rise and what led to his fall in a simple and a clear way. Let us begin with the beginning, the early life. Napoleon was born on 15th of August 1769 in Ajaccio, Corsica, a small island. At that time, Corsica had just become a part of France. So Napoleon grew up in a place where political control had just changed. This was the time when the Corsica's administration got transferred into the authority of France. His father supported the Corsican resistance. So from childhood, Napoleon heard about freedom, struggle, and power. He heard the words, and his family was not rich, but they were respected. He understood two things early in life, that life has limitations and growth is possible. So the early environment helped him to become serious and focused towards life. A silent student who observed the world. When Napoleon went to France for education, life was not easy. He had a different accent to pronounce, less money, very few friends. Many students ignored him, but instead of feeling weak, he used this time to improve himself. He spent most of his time reading. He loved history to understand how rulers worked, geography to understand places and strategy. He also loved mathematics and philosophy to improve thinking and to understand the ideas. He was influenced by Rousseau, who spoke about equality and society. Napoleon once said that books were his best friends. This phase shows us the difficult situations can become a preparation time. So a silent student quietly was sculpting himself while he was in the schools, while he was in the system, while he was not made very friendly individual by others. He was not considered as a good friend by others because of his accent, because he doesn't belong to that place. He is not from an elite group. Now, how did he got entry into the army? At the age of 16, Napoleon joined the army as a second lieutenant. It is a rank in the army. This was the time in France when there was a revolution happening. So this was the time of the French Revolution when he was given a position in the army. Earlier, positions were given based on family backgrounds. But now, talent started getting importance. So this helped Napoleon grow faster. He was disciplined hardworking, and ready to learn individual. This shows that the system changes. Prepared people move ahead quickly. What is the underlying lesson that we have learned here? He was picked up not because he belonged to a royal family or to an elite group of families. He was picked up based on his merit. So, because of that, he got an opportunity at that point of time. This was a new change that was happening in the society of France under the influence of revolution at that point of time. So here, now let us see the first success, the first big break that happened. In 1793, the British captured the port of Toulon. This was very important for France. Napoleon was given the responsibility in artillery to take care of the artillery. Instead of attacking blindly, Napoleon studied the situation carefully. He identified the important points and attacked those positions. He did not hit anything blindly. He targeted and he hit the exact positions. Because of this smart planning, the British had to leave Toulon, and the victory made Napoleon very famous for his strategy. He was promoted quickly because of his alertness and smart strategy. This shows that smart thinking can give faster success than hard efforts. So we learned about the first big break, Toulon, in 1793. Now, understanding power. A Paris Revolt, 1795. In 1795, a revolt happened in Paris. The government was very weak and could not control the situation. Napoleon was asked to take the charge. He attacked quickly and used strong force to stop the rebellion. The revolt ended in a short time. Because of this, Napoleon gained trust and he became more powerful. This shows that leaders are tested during difficult times. Napoleon proved himself through these efforts. Now, France in crisis. That's where the opportunity expands. At that time, France was ruled by the Directory, but the government had many problems. It was ruled by 5 directors. They both are divided into different groups. So it was divided. It was not a strong one, and corruption can be seen everywhere. People were tired of instability at that point of time. They wanted a leader who could bring order and control. Napoleon slowly became the person in people's eyes. So when systems fail, people look for strong leadership. Napoleon became one of the best options in the eyes of the people. So Napoleon got elevated step by step, elevated by his actions and for his stability and for his strategic planning, smart moves, everything made him finally to shift, seizing the power in 1799. It was the time in 1799 Napoleon took a major step. What was that major step? With the support of the army, they removed the Directory government. This event is called the coup of 18 Brumaire. After this, He formed a new government called the Consulate. Now, Napoleon was not just a soldier, he became a political leader. Power changes when leadership is trusted more than the system. This is how Napoleon entered into the most powerful system and very close to the system. Building a strong system. After coming to power, Napoleon focused on improving France. He introduced many important reforms. First one to name the Napoleonic Code, where laws were made equal for all people. Administrative system was centralized. Government became centralized and organized. He established the Bank of France, helped control money and economy. School focused on discipline and merit. So these are the major reforms he has initiated and brought a drastic change in the existing system of France at that point of time, leading to more stable and an organized system. So good systems create a long-term impact can be seen here very clearly. So expansion across Europe. Now Napoleon started expanding his influence across Europe. He won many battles and gained control over different regions. But something more important also happened. He introduced new ideas, equality, law and order, administrative systems in place. In many places, people started thinking about their own identity and unity. This led to the rise of nationalism. The ideas can influence people more than power. That's what we can see here. The ideas going beyond the regions. Continental system, a strategic experiment. To defeat Britain, Napoleon used an economic plan called the continental system because he wanted to make Britain suffer, because there is a long drawn historical enmity between France and Britain. He tried to stop the trade between Britain and Europe. But this was difficult because many countries depended on the British goods. Due to this, the prices have increased, trade got affected, and smuggling started. People began to feel the pressure, and everyone started to think the reason for the miseries or the problems what they are facing is because of Napoleon and his new policy or the new system that he has brought into place, that is the continental system. A good idea can fail if execution is difficult. The Russian campaign in 1812. Napoleon attacked Russia to force them to follow his system because Russia was not implementing the continental system. In order to ensure they implement this system, Napoleon had to attack Russia and force them to follow his system. But Russia was using a different strategy. They moved back and destroyed the resources. Also, during that period, the winter was very harsh. Supplies were not enough. This caused heavy losses to the Napoleon's army, and this was a major turning point. Not all challenges can be controlled. This is clearly evident for us through the Russian campaign that Napoleon has led. Coalition wars. Resistance grew among their neighbors. Other European countries joined together to fight Napoleon. Who joined together? It was Britain, Russia, Austria, Prussia, and England joined together, and they worked together in a planned way. This made it difficult for Napoleon to win. When one power becomes too strong, others unite. That's what we can see here. It's the Leipzig battle, the break point. In the Battle of Leipzig, Napoleon faced a large group of enemy forces and he was defeated. This changed how people saw him. He was no longer seen as unbeatable because he was defeated by the forces. The image, the reputation has come down. And after the defeat, they agreed to keep him the title an emperor, but the entire power has been removed. He has been sent an exile to Elba in 1814. Napoleon was removed from power and sent to an island. But he was still respected and allowed to keep his title, the emperor. Positions can change, but reputation may remain. As he was in the island, he was planning to return back 100 days, that is in 1815. Napoleon returned to France. As the news spread that Napoleon was returning to France, soldiers sent to stop him joined him, and instead of attacking him, they were fighting in favor to him. He quickly regained the power. Strong relationships and loyalty matter. Now, once again, he became a threat to the major powers. That led to the final battle, the Battle of Waterloo. In the Battle of Waterloo, Napoleon faced combined forces again, and this time he was defeated, and this ended his rule permanently. After the Battle of Waterloo, the fate got seized. This ended his rule permanently. Finally, the outcomes come when multiple challenges come together. So here we turn towards the final years of Napoleon. Napoleon was sent to St. Helena, a faraway island from where he cannot come back. He lived there under supervision. He spent time writing and thinking about his life. He died in 1821. Every journey has an end, but the impact remains. Aftermath. After Napoleon, European leaders met in Congress of Vienna. They reorganized Europe to maintain balance. Their goal was to avoid future conflicts like this. This created stability for many years. Now, legacy beyond victory and defeat. Napoleon's impact is still visible today. His contributions include legal systems, administration, education, nationalism. His influence continues even now. True legacy is long lasting. In order to conclude, when we look at Napoleon's life, we see a complete journey where we can see from his childhood, from his birth, how he rose to a position in the army. From there, how he got a smart moves with his merit and with his intelligence. He got elevated and grown, reached to the power position, faced challenges, and maintained legacy. Battles after battles, success after success, followed by a defeat, return, and a defeat. This is not just history. This is the story of how individuals interact with systems and change them. Napoleon Bonaparte was a true legend. He has brought remarkable changes in the system and he has introduced certain amazing concepts. That could be one of the reasons why people still consider him as relevant even after 200 years. Of course, there are controversies. There are some issues where people debate and argue against him, such as reintroduction of slavery, reducing the women's rights, but his contributions cannot be neglected. We'll end on this note. Napoleon Bonaparte, a legendary ruler who ruled France from 1799 to 1815. Thank you.